I have been with the organization for about 7 years. Part of that time was volunteering in the beginning, and then I worked my way into becoming employed with the organization. I am a mom and a wife of cavernous malformation patients, so I am extremely passionate about the organization and ultimately finding a cure for cavernous malformation. Prior to joining the Alliance, I worked as an athletic trainer and a sports medicine teacher at a high school. Extremely passionate about our community, the organization, the illness, and everything involved. We are a patient-driven organization, and that started from our founder. Everyone that is employed, or most of the people that are employed or work for the organization, are affected in some capacity, which makes us all very dedicated to finding a cure. Before COVID, a lot of our focus was on in-person events, building those connections within our communities, within the regions of the country. So we have people affected all across the world, all across the country. So we really wanted to just get people together. I would say after COVID or during COVID, as many of us experienced, we had to shut down all of our in-person events. And being a small nonprofit that relies on our community and funding from our community, we were pretty concerned. We didn't know which direction to go. And at that point, a hybrid virtual event was the easy answer. So I think our first year with COVID in 2020, we did a virtual event all by ourselves, and we were the production company, we were the AV company, we were the tech support, we were all of it, and it was a lot for us to take on by ourselves. And while I would say the event was successful, it was, considering the time and the effort that went into it from the staff, I wouldn't say that it was time well spent in the sense of we could have utilized other organizations, other companies to help us along the way, which is ultimately what we ended up doing the next year in 2021. We started a hybrid event with 4 in-person locations. And I will say, I think at the beginning of the planning for this, we probably had 10 in-person locations scheduled. Several of them dropped off again. We had another kind of influx of COVID coming around. We had 4 in-person locations across the country with a live virtual component, also a silent auction, and it raised about $40,000 the day of the event, and we're able to get about $59,000 in sponsorships, with the highest commitment, not the highest level that we offered, but the highest commitment was at $10,000. And then you'll see the next year in 2022, we went down to 2 in-person locations with a hybrid event, the same feel as the year before. Our silent auction, I believe, was a little better in the sense of promotion. We were able to raise more money the day of as well. And again, I contribute that to a lot of the silent auction items. And also our sponsorships increased pretty good. And the highest commitment at that point then was $15,000. Again, not the highest level we offered, but the commitment level was increasing for some of our sponsors. And then this past year, 2023, so we wanted to do something different because they were consistently, I don't want to say dropping off, but people just weren't eager to necessarily be hosts. And it didn't make sense for the time and commitment of our hosts to do that this year. The highest sponsorship commitment this year was $25,000, which was our highest level offered, and the first time we've been able to get a sponsor committed at that level, which was very exciting. But again, when you let them know that we're broadcasting internationally across the world, we were able to reach, I believe, over 1,000 people, which in our small rare disease is significant for us. Really, our goal this year was engagement and thinking of a long-term plan here, and not necessarily, we weren't expecting to raise a ton of funds immediately that day, but our program was developed based around the fact that we would continue this engagement and this reach throughout the year. Some of our goals were to facilitate community relationships despite not being together, finding a way to bring the community together, make them feel like we're all together without actually having to go anywhere. So we added a chat feature within our program, and we're actively engaged on the chat, encouraging engagement on there and asking questions. The second goal was obviously to raise funds to continue our work and support those that were affected by cavernous malformations, and then increase community engagement. And we did this by, I don't know, we always take a look at our community. Who are we trying to reach? What are our community needs? What are they interested in? What do they want to hear about? If you ask our patients and our families, they will all say, we want a cure. We want to find a cure. And the way to get to that point is research. So we focus a lot on the research, but also letting our folks know that, yes, the research is the end goal and the cure is the end goal, and that's where we want to get to, but we need to help them. We wanted to help them understand what it takes to get to that point. With our marketing strategies, we developed several videos that came directly from our researchers. Based on the timing of our event, we were able to capture some of that at our science meeting that was just a couple of weeks before this most recent event. The last message that we targeted or used was community. We can't do this without you. We can't do this without our community, and making sure they understand that we need everybody. We are a small, rare disease nonprofit, and we need everybody to help. What has changed since utilizing hybrid events or virtual events and video? Our reach has expanded by thousands. We are able to get in touch with more patients, more doctors, more researchers. We actually, just this past year, had a pharmaceutical company approach us. We didn't have to go out and find them. They came to us, which is a first. We upgraded our patient registry and our DNA tissue bank because of the funds that were able to come in, or because of the increase of funding. Patients are now reaching out to volunteer, which I attribute to the engagement side of it. Donations coming in without solicitation, so we aren't necessarily having to go out and ask for money all the time. They're actually just coming in without being asked, which is wonderful. And again, goes to show the engagement level that the virtual component can bring. And then more doctors are becoming involved. We have more applications for centers of excellence than we've probably had in the past, which again comes from that engagement. And a quote that I will end with here, because this is something that we are honing in on this year, is if you want change to happen, you have to be part of making it happen. Change starts with us. It starts with the community.